The first of the month always felt the same. I woke up at 6 a.m. I made tea. I sat at the kitchen table. I opened my banking app. I checked the balance. For 6 months, that routine had ended the same way. A transfer, automatic, 12,000 rupees, arriving before I finished my first cup of tea. It was not much against what he owed, but it was consistent. And consistency was the thing I had asked the court for. Not drama, not confrontation, not apology. Just the money arriving on the first of every month until the debt was cleared. That morning, the balance did not change. I put the phone face down on the table. I drank my tea. I told myself it was early. That transfers sometimes cleared later in the day. That there were banking delays and processing, times and reasons that had nothing to do with intention. I told myself that until noon. At noon, I picked up the phone and checked again. Nothing. I called the bank. The customer service line answered after 6 minutes. I gave my account details. I asked about the scheduled incoming transfer. From the account number I had memorized 6 months ago because I had looked at it so many times during the settlement process that it had become part of my permanent memory the way certain things do when they matter enough. The representative was quiet for a moment. "Ms. Malik," she said, "there is no scheduled transfer linked to that account number in our system. It appears the automatic payment instruction was canceled." I sat very still. "When was it canceled?" I said. 4 days ago, she said. I thanked her. I ended the call. I put the phone down on the kitchen table. Outside the window, the city was doing what it always did. Moving without regard for what was happening inside any particular apartment, traffic, people, everyone, going somewhere with the focused urgency of people whose whole day was measured in something that mattered to them. My name is Sarah. I am 31 years old. 6 months ago, my brother, Kamran, stole 217,000 rupees from my savings account while I was unconscious in a hospital bed recovering from emergency surgery. He used my passwords. He made 11 transfers over 6 weeks. He spent the money on a birthday, party, and a watch and things I will never know the full list of because some details are not worth learning. The civil case settled 4 months after that. He signed documents acknowledging the transfers. He agreed to repay the full amount with interest over 18 months. 12,000 rupees per month. Automatic. First of every month. No exceptions. That had been the agreement. For 6 months, he had kept it. I had almost believed he would keep keeping it. I called my lawyer at 12:15. Her name was Amara. She had handled the original case. She knew every document, every date, every transaction record. She picked up on the second ring. "Sarah," she said. "What has happened?" "The transfer did not come," I said. I called the bank. The automatic payment was canceled 4 days ago. She was quiet for a moment. That kind of quiet that has something inside it. He canceled it deliberately. She said, "This is a breach of the settlement agreement. We can file for enforcement immediately." "How quickly?" I said. She said she would have the filing ready by end of day. I said, "Do it." I hung up. I sat at the kitchen table for a few minutes after that. I thought about the settlement day, the room with the mediator, my parents on one side, Kamran across from me, the documents on the table, his signature at the bottom of the acknowledgement page. I had watched him sign it. I had thought that was the end of something. I understood now it was not the end. It was just the beginning of a different kind of paying attention. My mother called at 2 in the afternoon. I had been expecting this. Not because she had been in contact regularly. Since the settlement, she called once a week. Short calls, careful, the version of herself she used when she was managing something rather than connecting with someone. "Sarah," she said. "Kamran called me." I assumed he had, I said. "He says the payments are too much right now." She said, "He has expenses. The amount is not realistic given his current situation." I thought about 12,000 rupees per month. I thought about 217,000 rupees gone in 6 weeks. I thought about a new watch at Eid he said was a gift from a friend. "What expenses?" I said. She paused. "He bought a car," she said, "last month. The payments are significant." I sat with that for a moment. "He bought a car," I said. "He needed reliable transport." she said. For work. He canceled the court-ordered repayment to me, I said. 4 days after buying a car. Sarah, she said. He is trying. He signed a legal document, I said, not a promise. A legally binding settlement agreement. Trying is not a category that exists in that document. Her voice shifted slightly. Can you not just give him more time? She said. He is your brother. I felt something settle in my chest. The same thing that had settled there 6 months ago in a hospital room with fluorescent lights and an IV needle taped to my hand. Quiet, heavy, like a door that had already closed. Amara is filing for enforcement today, I said. The court will handle the timeline. You would go back to court, she said. Over this. Over a canceled court order? I said, yes. She said nothing for a moment. Then, you have become very hard, Sarah. I thought about that. I have become very clear, I said. Those are not the same thing. She ended the call. I made more tea. I sat at the table and I thought about the word hard. People called you hard when you stopped absorbing things that should never have been yours to absorb. They called it hard because it was easier than calling it what it actually was, which was just someone finally deciding that their own name deserved to be on the list of people they took care of. Amara filed the enforcement application that afternoon. Kamran's lawyer responded 3 days later. The response argued financial hardship. It argued that the repayment schedule was unrealistic, given changed circumstances. It argued for a reduced monthly payment and an extended timeline. Amara sent me the response on a Thursday morning. I read it at my kitchen table. Then I called her. What do we do? I said. We go to the hearing, she said. And we bring everything. What is everything? I said. She told me. The original settlement agreement. The breach notification. The bank records showing the canceled automatic payment. And one more thing. The car, she said. If he purchased a vehicle after the settlement agreement was signed, we can request his financial records. As part of the enforcement hearing, the court does not look kindly on defendants who claim hardship while making significant discretionary purchases. How significant? I said. She told me the approximate value of the car based on the model Kamran drove. She had done her research. I sat quietly for a moment. That is more than 6 months of repayments, I said. Yes, she said, it is. The hearing was scheduled for 3 weeks later. I did not tell my family. I went to work. I came home. I made tea. I sat at the kitchen table. I checked my banking app every morning out of habit, even though I knew nothing would arrive. And I waited. Kamran called me 9 days before the hearing. I almost did not answer. I answered because I wanted to know what he would say. His voice was the controlled version of itself, the version he used when he had rehearsed what he wanted to say and was running through the prepared version. Sarah, he said, I think we should talk before this goes further. I'm listening, I said. I made a mistake, he said, with the car. I know how it looks. I want to explain. I said nothing. He continued. I needed it for work, he said. The old one was unreliable. I thought I could manage both. The car payments and the repayment to you. I miscalculated. You canceled the court order. I said. You did not call me. You did not contact Amara. You did not request a modification through legal channels. You simply canceled it. I panicked, he said. I thought about 11 transfers over 6 weeks. Systematic. Careful. Never too large. Spaced out so nothing would trigger an alert too quickly. That had not been panic. That had been planning. I do not think you panic easily, I said. He was quiet. What do you want, Sarah? He said finally. What the court ordered. I said nothing more. Nothing less. He started to say something else. I ended the call. The hearing took 45 minutes. Kamran's lawyer presented the hardship argument. Amara presented the car purchase. The judge looked at the financial records. She was quiet for a moment. Then she looked at Kamran's lawyer. Your client signed a settlement agreement 4 months ago, she said. He maintained payments for 6 months. He then purchased a vehicle valued at approximately 9 months of those payments, and then canceled the agreement. That is not hardship. That is a choice. She reinstated the original payment schedule. She added a penalty for the missed month. She added a court cost order against Kamran. And she added one more thing. A compliance monitoring condition. Any future missed payment would result in immediate escalation to asset recovery proceedings. I sat in the courtroom and I listened to all of it. I did not smile. I did not feel triumphant. I felt something quieter than that. The specific satisfaction of a system working the way it was designed to work when someone finally refuses to let it be bypassed. The repayments resumed the following month. Automatic, first of every month. 12,000 rupees. The balance in my account climbed slowly. My mother did not call for 3 weeks after the hearing. When she called, her voice was smaller than usual. She did not mention the court. She did not mention Kamran. She asked how I was feeling. She asked about work. She asked whether I had eaten properly. I answered all 3 questions. Then she said, "I am sorry, Sarah, for what I said. About you becoming hard?" I sat with that for a moment. "You were scared," I said. "I understand that." "I was wrong," she said. "What you are is not hard. It is just different from what I am used to. It is just me," I said. The version of me that stopped pretending things were fine when they were not. She was quiet. Then, "I should have come to the hospital," she said. "Yes," I said. "You should have." She did not make excuses. That was new. We talked for 20 more minutes. About ordinary things. It was the best conversation we had had in a year. If stories like this speak to you, hit subscribe. A new one comes every day. The money will be fully repaid in 12 more months. I know this because I have a spreadsheet. I have always had a spreadsheet. On the day the final transfer clears, I will sit at this kitchen table with my tea and I will look at the number on my screen and I will feel the thing. I felt the first time the balance crossed 240,000. Not celebration, something quieter. The specific weight of something that was taken from you coming back. Not everything that is taken comes back. I know that. But some things do. And you have to be willing to go and get them. If this story stayed with you, hit subscribe. There is a new one waiting for you tomorrow.